What's up guys, today we're going to finally go over Eriana's Vow and breaking down the DPS and comparing it to other weapons in the game such as legendary snipers and see where it stacks up. We will also be breaking down the catalyst for this weapon and what that does and how that changes the DPS and things like that. And overall just how good this gun is in the current meta for PvE. And like I mentioned, we'll be comparing it to things like Tranquility and Soul Survivor with Fire Line and things like that. So let's go ahead and begin. First, looking at the perks on the weapon, starting with exotic perk. This weapon fires special shield piercing ammo. It comes with a scope, as a few other perks in its other main perk. Bonus damage when aiming down sights on the opening shot of an attack. This bonus is preserved if the shot deals precision damage or strikes an elemental shield. So it's going to be all about hitting those crits over and over again, or breaking a shield first and hitting the crits over and over again. And it has max impact, max range, and is a 90 RPM just like a lot of the other top tier PvE snipers in the game right now. And the first thing you'll notice when using this weapon, even though it's a hand cannon, it is a special weapon, and you'll quickly find it is not suited for red bars. It's more for majors and things like that. It's definitely way overkill for red bars. Even though it's a hand cannon, you want to shoot at red bars. That's definitely not the purpose of the weapon. Now, the damage on Greg without the perk is 11,767. Now, with first glance, which is going to be the bonus damage, it's going to be 15,586. And that damage stays until you miss or reload. And that's going to be a 32.5% increase as long as you don't miss, which isn't too bad. Pretty much like Rampage right now, so not too great, but better than nothing. Now look at the rate of fire and reload speed of the weapon using maximum reload speed with a fitting aspect and an enhanced hand cannon loader, then also pulse wave just to make sure we're at capped reload speed. We're going to shoot off 2 magazines, which is going to be 12 total shots, and that is going to take 8.317 seconds. Meaning the DPS of Eriana's Vow is 22,488, which isn't the best for a special weapon in the game if we compare it to other special weapons in the game, such as Tranquility or the Soul Survivor with Fire and Line. This one hits almost 24,000, while Soul Survivor hits 22.8 thousand. So these snipers are doing 46.5 and 53.8% more damage per shot than Eriana's Vow with the first glance perk procced. And the DPS of these two snipers are 34,000 and 32,000, so as you saw, the DPS of these are a lot higher than that of Eriana's Vow. One thing Eriana's Vow does have over snipers is it has a lot more ammo. Without any perks, it has 30, which is 467,000 total damage output over those 30 shots, which is actually pretty good. Now we put on double hand cannon reserves, which does impact this weapon. We will be able to get up to now 38 ammo, which is so much for a special weapon, and that results in 592,000 total damage output, which is actually kind of on par with most legendary snipers in the game. As you see with something like the Tranquility with Field Prep, we're going to hold 28 with 2 reserves, which is pretty much the most out of any sniper in the game, and that is 671,000, so a little bit more, but once again, that is best case scenario god roll sniper. Now we look at the catalyst for this weapon. It is going to give it a mag increase to 9, which is obviously really good. Anytime you can get a 50% magazine increase, obviously that's more than welcome. Then it also has auto loading holster, which is a very meta perk right now. And to get this catalyst, I believe you just get this quest step from completing the main Shadowkeep campaign. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then once you have this quest step, you're going to have to complete a bunch of activities with Eriana's Vow on. As you see, you can do like Gambit, Crucible, Strikes, and Vex Offensive, and these are the percents per completion for those different Danes. As you see, it's roughly 1% for everything, and then Gambit Prime is 2. So it's going to take quite a while. That's a lot of activities with this weapon, but let's see if it's worth it. So like mentioned, it takes the magazine to 9, and let's see how that impacts the DPS. Now shooting off 9, then reloading and shooting off 9 again. Let's see if that changes the DPS. You kind of think it would a bit. You're shooting more shots without needing to reload, so that should increase the DPS, but as you see right here, that takes 12.367 seconds, meaning DPS is now 22.685 thousand, which is only slightly higher than the number we tested before, so it doesn't really impact the DPS like that. But the other part of the catalyst with auto loading holster is very, very good. As you see, you can shoot a few shots, holster the weapon, then a few seconds later, it is ready to go and it reloads for you, which is very good in this meta. And you can pair that with a grenade launcher with auto loading holsters such as Wendigo or any 150 with it. A 150 with Spike will actually result in higher DPS numbers. And you can kind of do this balance where you shoot your GL, then you shoot Eriana's Vow, and you can shoot 5 Eriana's Vow before the grenade launcher is ready to go again. So you can kind of do that cycle back and forth, and it works pretty well. Doing 2 of these little combos took 12.65 seconds, and now we just look at the damage numbers for Wendigo. We can kind of figure out what the DPS of that combo is. So this is with the perk, then without the perk, because obviously the first magazine in Wendigo will be with Explosive Light, while the other one will not, and that combo has a DPS of 35.3 thousand, which isn't bad. That puts it more on par with the god roll legendary snipers in the game. But once again, if you just shoot a regular grenade launcher, for example a god roll Love and Death, that's going to be roughly 50,000 without doing the Eriana's Vow. so you may as well just use the grenade launcher itself for the DPS. So Eriana's Vow isn't a top tier DPS option, which isn't necessarily that bad of a thing. It trades off some of that sniper-like DPS and damage output for more utility. It feels a lot better for majors and shielded enemies, and the ammo economy of this weapon is way better than a sniper. And it feels a lot easier to use on majors and things like that compared to a sniper with that lower zoom scope. And on top of that, like I said, the ammo economy of this weapon is way better than that of a sniper. It has 30 without any reserve perks, then per box you get 10 without scavenger. Now with one hand cannon scavenger on, which is the same as 2 old ones, you will now get 14 per box, which is so much ammo from a single box for a special weapon. So with all these things combined, it feels more like a major killing machine, more so than like a damage output sniper, which I think is what they were going for. And there's nothing wrong with that. It actually does that very, very well. Like using this thing versus shielded majors feels so good. You pop them once, you know, it staggers them, then you pop them in the head again and they're dead. And you combine that with the fact that it has 38 ammo and it gets pretty much a third of that per box. I mean, you can use this thing freely throughout strikes and pretty much never run out of ammo. It does what it's trying to do very, very well, which is what exotics should be. Then when you throw the catalyst on top of that with the increase to the mag size, obviously that helps a lot. Then the auto-loading holster plays perfectly into the playstyle this weapon is trying to achieve, with the fact that you only pull it out for majors and shielded enemies and you put it away, you don't have to reload it, and when you need it again, it's ready to go. So that catalyst makes perfect sense and is one of the better catalysts in the entire game. One of the only negative things I can say about this weapon is that I think too much of this weapon rides on the fact that you're hitting those precision shots non-stop and getting that first glance 32.5% more damage. And what I mean by that is I think once you miss, you're pretty much forced to reload instantly, or if you have the catalyst, put away the weapon and let it reload for you, because the damage without the perk just doesn't feel usable. And it feels like the weapon heavily relies on that extra damage to make it usable. And it's kind of hard to explain this concept. I feel like exotics should be really good weapons as is, then their exotic perks are what take it above and beyond like legendary weapons. While on the other hand, for this hand cannon, I think the perks is what makes it a usable weapon and not the other way around. I think without the perks, it is pretty weak, and the perk is what takes it to being usable. While I think with exotics, it should be usable as is, then that perk should make it better than the other options. I feel like when you're using this weapon, it should just be good in general. Then when you go on that, you know, streak of hitting crit after crit after crit, it should feel really, really good. While I think when you hit those crits over and over again is what makes it just feel usable. Then once you miss, it feels like the weapon's just trash. And I think that's like the only negative thing I can say about this weapon. Outside of that, I think it's an amazing weapon. I think it's very well done, very well made. The catalyst makes a lot of sense. I just think that the damage that the perk does right now should probably be the base damage. Then with the perk, it should go up to like 21,000 per shot. And that way the weapon would be good no matter what. And once you got on those crit streaks, it'd feel very competitive with legendary snipers in the game. Because right now, I don't think you're getting rewarded for going on those crit streaks. I think you're more so forced to go on the crit streaks to make the gun usable. Anyways, the rest of the video will just be a little bit of strike gameplay with this weapon. Let me know what you guys think about this. Have you gotten the catalyst yet? After watching this, are you going to go for the catalyst? I think I probably will. It might take a while, but if you just chip away at it a little at a time, it's definitely very doable. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.